What if Ferrari wasn't evolving its car, but secretly replacing it at Miami 2026? Because what has been leaked from Maranello has absolutely nothing normal. We're not talking about a couple of new parts. We're talking about a package that modifies up to 50% of the SF26, something that is simply not done in modern Formula One. Unless you're desperate, or absolutely sure you found something that everyone else doesn't see. And here comes the big question that no one in the paddock can answer yet. Is this the move that will return Ferrari to the top, or the biggest technical error of the entire 2026 season? Ferrari arrives at Miami 2026 at a critical moment, at a point where small improvements or progressive adjustments are no longer enough, because the SF26 has made it clear since the start of the season that it has a structural problem that limits its full potential. It's not a lack of talent, it's not a lack of drivers, it's not even a lack of pure downforce. It's a question of efficiency, of how the car converts that downforce into real performance without paying too high a price on the straight. And in today's Formula One, that balance is absolutely everything. Miami, furthermore, is not just any circuit. It is a route that combines long straights with technical areas where aerodynamic efficiency is decisive. It is, in essence, the perfect scenario to test whether Ferrari has managed to solve its biggest weakness or if, on the contrary, the problem is still there, hidden under a completely new package. What is about to happen is not just the introduction of improvements. It is a large-scale experiment in the middle of the championship. Ferrari has bet big, it has concentrated weeks of development in a single moment, and now everything depends on one thing: that all those pieces work together as a coherent system from the first moment. Because if something is clear at this point, it is that Ferrari is not playing to secure points. It is playing to change the season. Now we enter the point where everything begins to take shape, where we leave theory behind and get into what really defines whether this secret Ferrari package is a masterpiece or a complete disaster. Because one thing is clear, it is not enough to change many parts. The truly difficult thing is to make them all work together under the same aerodynamic concept. The core of this revolution is on the ground of SF26, and it is no coincidence. In today's Formula One, the ground is practically 70% of the car's aerodynamic performance. It is responsible for generating most of the load, but it is also the most sensitive element to any change in airflow. Ferrari knew this, and that's why they decided to directly attack this component with a complete overhaul, not an adjustment, not an evolution. A total reconstruction of how the car generates charge from the base. This new floor has a very clear objective: to generate more load without increasing resistance. And this, although it sounds simple, is one of the biggest engineering challenges in Formula One. Because normally when you increase load, you also increase drag. Ferrari is trying to break that compromise, optimizing every channel, every edge, every surface to direct air more efficiently toward the diffuser. If they succeed, they will not only gain time in the curve, they will also do so on the straight, something that until now they had not been able to balance. But this is where the story becomes even more complex. This new floor does not work alone. It is completely linked to changes in the side pods, rear bodywork, and lateral flow management. This means that Ferrari has redesigned how air surrounds the car, how it is channeled to the rear, and how it is cleaned before entering critical areas. It is a systemic change, not an individual one. And if there is one piece that connects this whole concept, it is the new front spoiler. Because it all starts there. This element not only generates front loading, but also defines the quality of the air that runs through the entire car. Ferrari has redesigned this spoiler with a very specific objective: to produce a cleaner, more stable flow, which allows the ground to work in optimal conditions. That is, they are not just looking for more load at the front. They are looking for the entire car to work better from that point on. Now, the most intriguing thing about this entire package is how the famous FTM flap fits within this new aerodynamic ecosystem. This system, which uses exhaust gases to generate additional charge, is extremely sensitive to any change in flow. And here's the risk. By modifying so many areas of the car, Ferrari is also altering the conditions under which this system operates. That is why the version that we will see in Miami is not the same as in the preseason. It is a lighter, more refined evolution designed to be more stable and, above all, more predictable. Because one of the big problems detected previously was precisely the inconsistency in its behavior, something that can completely ruin the balance of the car in fast corners or changes of direction. And this is where it all connects to a factor that many are overlooking: new energy management regulations. These rules directly affect how the car delivers power in different phases of the circuit, which in turn influences aerodynamic flow, especially in systems such as the FTM flap. Ferrari isn't just introducing an aerodynamic package. It's trying to adapt it to a new technical context that can amplify its advantages or expose its weaknesses. All of this leads us to one inevitable conclusion. Ferrari isn't testing an improvement. It's testing a completely new concept under real racing conditions. And that means Miami will be much more than just a calendar date. It will be the first definitive test of whether this radical approach makes sense or whether, on the contrary, they have gone too far. Because when you change so many variables at the same time, you no longer have clear reference points. If the car improves, it will be difficult to know exactly why. But if it fails, the problem could be anywhere. And that is precisely what makes this movement as fascinating as it is dangerous. And now we come to the most critical point in this whole story, because everything that Ferrari has prepared, everything that it has developed in silence for weeks, all that massive package of changes, is going to be tested in a single place, in a single weekend, and with no margin for error. Miami is not just another race on the calendar, it is the perfect setting to expose the truth. A circuit that combines long straights, high-speed areas, and technical sections where the balance of the car is everything. You can't hide weaknesses here. Here, either you are efficient, or you are simply not competitive. And that is exactly what Ferrari needs to show, that it has solved its biggest problem or at least found the right path. But there is something even more important than pure performance, and that is the reaction of the car in real conditions. Because it is one thing for everything to work in the simulator, in the wind tunnel, or in the factory data, and quite another thing is how the car responds when the drivers push it to the limit, when temperatures change, when wear appears, and when each lap requires absolute consistency. This is where the human factor comes in. Drivers who will have to adapt to a practically new car from one day to the next, without clear references, without a solid base on which to build confidence. And in Formula One, trust is everything. If the car is fast but unpredictable, the driver cannot squeeze it out. If it is efficient but unstable, every curve becomes a risk. And this is the biggest danger of Ferrari's move. They have changed so much, so quickly, and all at the same time, that they could face a scenario where the car has potential, but cannot be used 100%. Because performance in Formula One not only depends on engineering, it depends on the ability to execute that performance on the track. Now, if everything fits, if the new floor generates the expected load, if the front wing manages to clean the flow as designed, if the FTM flap works stably within this new aerodynamic ecosystem, then Ferrari will not only have improved, it will have taken a leap. A leap capable of changing the competitive order, of placing them directly in the fight with the best, and of completely transforming the narrative of the 2026 season. Because we are not talking about winning a few tenths. We are talking about correcting a concept. And when you correct a concept in Formula One, the impact is not progressive. It is immediate. But if it fails, if any of these parts don't fit, if the balance of the car is broken, if the correlation between data and track is not correct, then Ferrari will face a much bigger problem. Because it won't be a matter of adjusting a detail, it will be a matter of understanding what part of this entire package doesn't work. And that, in the middle of the season, can cost races, points, and even the entire course of the championship. So it all comes down to one thing. Ferrari has bet everything on Miami. There are no half measures, there is no gradual evolution, there is no conservative plan. It is an aggressive, calculated move, but extremely risky. And now the final question is no longer what have they changed. The real question is, have they finally found the key, or are they about to discover that the problem was much deeper than they imagined? Ferrari has reached a point where it could no longer follow the traditional path. Small improvements, progressive adjustments, partial solutions. All that was no longer enough for an SF26 that showed clear limits from the beginning. And that is why they have made a decision that changes everything. Stop evolving, to reinvent. What we will see at Miami 2026 is not simply an aerodynamic package, it is a statement of intent. It's Ferrari saying that they are not willing to wait, that they are not going to build their performance little by little, but that they are willing to risk everything in one move. A move that can put them back on top, or that can further expose their weaknesses. Because that is the reality of this sport at the highest level. The bigger the bet, the bigger the reward, but also the risk. And Ferrari has decided to play hard. They have changed the floor, the aerodynamic flow, the concept of the car. They have integrated complex systems such as the FTM flap within a new global approach, all at the same time. There is no recent precedent for something like this at the start of the season. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.